Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now November 11th of 2025, and ever since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the No Kings protest, Zohran Mamdani being elected as the New York City mayor, and most recently the government shutdown, we know that a lot of major Hollywood celebrities, and even those in the media, are using those all together to push their anti-Trump narrative, to really push their anti-Trump messaging campaign to the point that it is driving away even the fans that once supported those in the media, and even those Hollywood celebrities that are very much extreme with their views. And one thing about all of this in particular has a lot to do with ABC's The View hosts, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Whoopi Goldberg. Let's discuss. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, Sunny, Whoopi, and Joy, they recently got a very severe punishment by the Walt Disney Company, and in a very unexpected way at that, and how it was handled by Disney CEO Bob Iger. Let's dive into this. Now, we know one thing about all of this right now is that Sunny, Whoopi, and Joy, they are relentless when it comes to really just attacking the public, vocally of course, and getting very angry toward a live audience, especially when it comes to the pre-tapings of The View. We're talking about the moments before it goes on the air and or after, when they either do Q&A sessions or when they actually put out talking points to actually kind of connect with the audience. And so far, it's been backfiring time and time again. The more and more Republicans decide to actually go on The View in the audience, and this is exactly why there's an uptick in the number of moments where they're getting heckled. And you know what? Rightfully so. I think that Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny deserve to be put on the spot and to really be put in the hot seat, so to speak. However, with many Hollywood celebrities still deciding to politicize the assassination of Charlie Kirk and also taking advantage of the government shutdown to force their anti-Trump agenda, one major development going on now involves more to do with the hosts of The View, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Whoopi Goldberg, who recently went on another tirade toward a live audience before the most recent episode went live on the air. Now, it turns out that first Sunny Hostin decided to create a talking point to the audience about Charlie Kirk before the taping in front of the audience, where she labeled him as supporting racist views that were unfit for this country and damaging to the people. This is where a small group of the audience was heard in the background yelling and shouting out loud at Sunny Hostin, where it turned out to be yet again another small group of Republicans and or Trump supporters calling out Sunny Hostin on the spot. Now, Hostin's comments were followed by both Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, who came forward with comments where they then confronted the small group of hecklers and instigators, as they called them. This is when both Joy and Whoopi delivered comments about Trump using Charlie Kirk's assassination to get himself elected for a third term, and how he plans to rewrite the laws to stay as president and never leave the White House. Something that is completely fiction that Joy and Whoopi attempted to pass as the truth. This is when ABC executives and producers had to intervene to take the hosts of The View off the stage during the pre-taping of the show, as they were being heckled and snapping back at the live audience. Now, surprisingly, get this, coming from the up and up at the Walt Disney Company, and a final call made by Bob Iger after being pressured by the board, was to fire the hosts of The View through not from their own show itself on ABC, but from Toy Story 5, where Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny were going to portray different versions of themselves in the Toy Story franchise. Since technology is going to be the center of Toy Story 5 mixed with the toys, Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny were fired from playing robotic characters synced with a smartphone in the movie. They were going to do both the voiceover work and were going to be part of the creative process over their characters, and basically their new versions of themselves in the film. Now guys, let me just say one thing about this. Now, I think that they got what was coming to them, and though they're not fired from The View, they were fired from Toy Story 5. They were kicked off this project. They were actually given the boot, and this is exactly what was going to happen in the long run. We know that Bob Iger and the board have a deep plan to take the necessary steps to at least salvage some of Bob Iger's legacy, and I don't think it's going to work at all, because Bob Iger, quite frankly, doesn't really have a positive legacy. I mean, look at what he has done like the past several years to multiple brands like Star Wars, Marvel, the Disney live-action projects, Pixar, and especially their television, right? ABC. I mean, it's a disaster. Now, Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny are now officially off of Toy Story 5, which is due to release next year, an unexpected turn of events, especially coming from the Walt Disney Company and Bob Iger. It turns out that the board of directors pressured Bob Iger to toss the host of The View from the 5th Toy Story film to avoid conflict, and it took hours of convincing Bob Iger to make that final call. Now, once they were fired from Toy Story 5 over attacking the audience, now for the 4th time during a pre-taping of The View, already conversations are underway on how they will handle The View by 2027, as they plan to revamp the show by then with new hosts, or at least one new host. Now, let me just say one thing about that before I move on. The plan right now is to, yes, get rid of Sunny Hostin by 2027, the very early months of 2027. And that could very well come earlier, the more times she actually makes a fool of herself, either on or off air. Look at what they already did with Toy Story 5. It's taking the necessary steps. And look, I think that Disney, they're doing things way too slowly. They should really just boot her off The View, period, the end, and call it quits. In fact, just cancel the entire show The View altogether, no matter how much money it costs them to break their contracts and to just rewrite the entire, appearance of the show, how it's actually orchestrated, etc., even if it means that they disappoint their top 3 investors, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. So, in addition to this, Sunny Hostin is in particular already blamed racism to the Disney heads after she was fired from Toy Story 5. Scenes were already filmed featuring the hosts of The View as these new characters, and the deleted footage will be locked away in a vault forever. So, the fact that they had their scenes filmed, and they were still working on it during post-production, and how this was going to be a thing in Toy Story 5, I don't know if you guys know this, but yes, the central plot of this movie is about mixing the toys with technology, and putting it into the modern era to kind of make it more relatable to a new generation of younger audiences, right? I don't think it's going to work. I think that this actual series or this franchise, whatever have you, it is so overdone. Nobody's asking for a 5th Toy Story film as far as I'm concerned. I think it's just should have ended with 3 or 4, to be honest. But looking at The View right now, alright, this is already tanking ratings even further. I mean, if you look at last week, the ratings haven't really been doing too hot at all, and it's very much a roller coaster for the Walt Disney Company. It is not looking good for Bob Iger when it comes to the Disney stock over the course of the past 6 months. It's been, like I said earlier, a very erratic type of behavior when it comes to how the Disney stock is performing based on Bob Iger's actions. And this is exactly why a lot of investors, they're very unhappy with Disney right now. I mean, a lot of investors are losing money, let's be very real about this. And even if they do go up a little bit and then down again and then up again on average, there's really, a lot of inconsistency going on with the actual stock. But one thing about this for sure is that I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and their Charlie Kirk political talking points backfiring on their movie careers for Toy Story 5 in particular. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.